What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Unbound Unplugged podcast. This is episode something 18, 19, I think. I actually don't remember. Not too concerned about episode number. We're just getting things out so that you guys have some valuable information that you can bring back into your gym training, health, and lifestyle routine. Today's one is 5 steps to improve fitness. Now, these 5 steps are very generalized and they are for the average person. These aren't for athletes. These aren't wildly crazy steps, but these are the 5 steps that I would implement to not only my clients, but to the general population on how to improve your overall fitness. This is both from a health perspective and from a performance metric perspective as well. Let's crack straight into it. Number 1, nutrition and sleep. This is the most important portion of the fitness journey. You could never train ever again and still be relatively healthy with a great nutrition and sleep routine. So that's already a good point. And these are like almost the 99%ers. Like if you have good nutrition and sleep and have a poor week of training, you're still going to be really healthy. So these are the things that I would consider for the majority of people to keep in mind when approaching your nutrition and sleep. And these are very general. Obviously, if you have specific traits and habits, if you learned some specific things, you have a dietitian, or you have selective food choicings, then there may be some things that won't apply to you. So keep that in mind. Firstly, we're going to eat majority whole foods, lean meats, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. Of course, that's pretty straightforward. Eat healthy. We all know how to eat healthy. Some of the metrics that you can keep in mind, they say 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight is how much protein you should consume. But I like to tell people just double body weight protein because it's a lot easier to do the mathematics for. So if you weigh 100 kilos, you should be eating about 200 grams of protein. Fat should be about 1 to 1, so 1 gram of fat per kilo of body weight, roughly, and then carbohydrates to make up the rest of your diet. We should follow the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your food is super healthy, lean, yummy foods that are obviously going to improve health. The other 20% can be naughty little snacks, little desserts, eating out on the odd occasion, all the good stuff. We still want to live a fulfilled life, and in doing so means that we do things that we enjoy that might not necessarily be 100% good for our health, because for our mental health, these things are super important. So don't be weird, go out, have fun, just don't be silly. Don't have 16 beers on a Thursday night. Don't put yourself in a hole with ice cream 2 liters every night from self-experience, and be silly with just nuances in nutrition and stuff like that. We obviously know not to smoke, not to drink too much, not to do drugs, all that kind of stuff. We're all taught that from a young age. Most of us still probably do one of the 3 anyway at some point, but just don't do it all the time. I like Michael's 35 meal rule. If you have 5 meals per day, 7 days a week, that's 35 meals a week. If you have 3 or 4 poor meals in that week, that's still like a 90% compliance. So should be pretty happy with that. Sleep. 7-8 hours per night for men, 8 to 9 hours per night for females. Yes, ladies, you do require more sleep than the boys, purely just because testosterone helps us with, specific recovery metrics. But as well, ladies, you have periods. We don't. You have a legitimate egg dying in you once a month. I'm not 100% well-rounded in all the aspects of that, but I just know that you ladies just need more sleep than men. Simple as that. Caffeine. No caffeine 8 to 9 hours before bed. No screens 30 to 45 minutes before bed if possible. And have a good sleep routine, something that you do every night, because that helps. I have some weird stuff where I will massage tomorrow. I will go for a shower before I go to sleep. That seems to help. I don't know. That's just my sleep routine. That covers off nutrition and sleep. Number 1, the priority and the tip of the base of our pyramid. For if we go up there, it will be training. So training and consistency around training will be key. Being consistent, and I'm saying get to the gym at least once or twice per week consistently over a long period of time. You'll see profound benefits. Most people will go 5 to 6 days a week, and that's amazing if you can manage that. But in a lot of cases, for regular people, we can't make it all the time. If you have kids, if you have a busy life, if you have a very intense job, or you want to improve and push your career aspects, you just won't be able to show up as much. My brother Justin has become very successful in a strength realms, just training 2 times a week. So it is very possible, and if anything, it could be something that would work for most people. If you can't get into the gym as much, or you are someone who is very sedentary, Walking is very good. Something that I use for weight loss protocols for myself. If I'm looking at losing weight, instead of attacking my nutrition first, I'll just move more. I love moving rather than reducing what I eat. So I'll go for 1 to 2 walks. Having a dog does this really well. It gives you an excuse to go for more walks. I'm not saying buy a dog, but it can help. I know a lot of people, especially Australians, own a dog. So use that as an excuse to walk more. It doesn't have to be insane. Obviously, there's a recommended step intake of between 7 and 10,000 per day. Just make sure you're getting somewhere around there. If you know you're not, maybe go for a walk. They're just things that we can utilize as something to improve our non-exercise activity thermogenics, or our ability to burn calories without having to restrict our life and make everything nice and sad. Otherwise, mobility and range work is always good. If you can't get out for a walk for whatever reason, it's raining, do some stretching. Work on improving mobility in areas that you know you struggle on. It can be nice and relaxing, and it could be part of your sleep routine as well. These are just things to consider. Rehabilitation and prehab. Most of us carry an injury, at least one a year. Do your rehab. Don't avoid it. If you're injured, you're not training, you're not improving. So we want to make sure that we're keeping up with this. And if you are injured and you don't know why, see a physio, please. If it's more than 2 weeks, I would suggest going to see a physio as soon as possible. If your coach can't help you, in a lot of cases, you probably want someone who is qualified to fix injuries. We have some great physios at Unbound Athletic that I use personally, and I think it is valuable. I see a physio once a week, and that might be a bit excessive, but I just want to look after myself. I might be 30, but my body is like 80 years old, so I want to make sure that I can keep moving well for the long term. That covers off number 2, training. Let's go into number 3. So we're getting a little bit more specific now. So they're the most important things. Number 1 and 2, if you can do number 1 and 2, you're going to be a very fit and healthy, human being. Number 3, this is if you want to start improving performance. So you can do number 1 and 2. You're consistently showing up to the gym, you're eating well, and you're sleeping well. If you're doing those 3 things, number 3 is where we start to get a bit more specific. Resistance training. Obviously, if you are going to the gym once or twice a week, resistance training can be helpful for maintaining bone, ligament, and muscular integrity. Build muscle to help improve quality of life. Obviously, resistance training is shown to reduce and offset the onset of osteoarthritis and osteoporosis and all those things. Is that the right word? Osteoporosis? I think that's the female version of it. I don't know. Not a doctor. But these are important things. Resistance training is also very easy to do if you're someone who's not interested in cardio. However, if you're not interested in throwing weights around, monostructural conditioning is an alternative. When you become 30, you either run a marathon or you get into the gym. It's either or. I'm not interested in running marathons, so I do strength training. But if you're not interested in doing strength training and you like running, you like rowing, you like swimming, all that kind of stuff, then that's going to be where you hit. And monostructural work is just base conditioning. It is just improving your run, row, swim, bike, ski, like whatever. Like it's more just like base cardio work, and doing this like as part of your training could be key. If you can't make it to the gym, you might look at doing some monostructural conditioning 1 to 2 days a week, going for a run, going for a swim, something like that, going for a bike ride, getting on a roller, anything like that, 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to be good for your health. They'll improve lung capacity, blood flow, improve your heart, and it's going to be good just for you in general, and it gives you something to help increase your base force so that if you are training for those harder things, you are able to recover well and faster. Sports and recreation. If you have no interest in just rowing on intervals and doing swimming, you don't like the gym, but you love sports, join a sport or play a sport. You don't even need to have friends to do that, or even join a team. You can just shoot hoops at a basketball court. You can, kick the footy through the posts. You can get a mate and play cricket in the nets. These are things that are possible. You can join a local sport team. I played mixed netball for an entire year, just for lols. And I loved it. It was great fun. It was hard. It was conditioning. But these are things that we can utilize to help do, more hard things and challenge ourselves. Recreation includes hiking, mountain climbs, bouldering and rock climbing. All this cool, like, random extra stuff that we just think is like a anomaly that we do on our holidays. But it's an option that you can do for your training. It doesn't have to be in the gym. That's number 3. So if you've got a good base in GPP, you train and you sleep and eat really well, that's when we start learning new skills. You could argue that skills could be up there as number 1, as something that you could do, because that's what helps keep your brain healthy, and it helps allow us to just consistently look at ways to get better and keep showing up. Skills is also a way to become more consistent. If you do something for a long period of time and it doesn't show a lot of improvement, it can be demotivating. But when you add new skills in there or focus on some slightly different things and pivot your focus, this can be a reason that you would stay more committed to your workout routine. Yeah, X is not going very well, but I've just improved Y massively because I've never done it before. And that can give you a little bit more buy-in to the gym. Learning something new is obviously very important, but improving what you've already learned. If you've just developed a skill, or in the past you developed a skill, handstand walking, double unders, bar muscle ups, even clean snatches, even just things that aren't unrelated to the gym, running, you've just improved your running technique, or you can swim further. Get better at those things. Let's see how good we can get. Challenge yourself and find new ways to challenge yourself. You might sign up for a Tough Mudder or a Spartan race, or these random little challenges that, force you to do hard things. A triathlon, a Bridge to Brisbane, a Bribey Island triathlon. Like, there's so much stuff out there you can just do, and it's always running year round. There's really no excuse to not find something to do and to challenge yourself for. People obviously climb Mount Everest. That's a challenge. It's not a sport, but people do it. It's an extreme sport, I think, but it's something that people try to do. You might go skiing for the first time. Like, there's options there for new skills. There's things to do that are different and are outside your scope of practice or outside your comfort zone that you could give a go. And then finally, if you're hit the skills, you love your skills, you work on them every day, you do your GPP work, so you do your resistance training, your monostructural work, or you play a sport, you train consistently 1 to 2 days a week, you move well and you rehabilitate yourself and do mobility work, and then you are sleeping and eating excellent, then number 5 is sport-specific training. This is obviously the tip and top of the pyramid, purely because it's the least important. Like, no one cares how well you play at your sport, because in the reality of things, if you don't make it past 45, no one's going to remember it anyway. So making sure that longevity is your number 1 priority. Unless you're an athlete, then sport-specific training becomes your life. Other than that, there's really no or very few athletes that I know of that do this for a living. So for the majority of us, sport-specific training is the tip and top of the pyramid. Compete in the sport of choice. Competing is very important because this is one way to push yourself past the limits and the constraints that what you've set in your head. If you think like this is all I can do, you get to game day, you end up going 10% further, harder, lift heavier, and just do better than what you actually think you could do. Something about game day, the crowd, the atmosphere, the environment, that just changes our mental state. We just become more driven. We try harder. It's amazing, and it's something that, we can only do a few times a year properly, just from general mental and physical fatigue, but it is an amazing experience, and it gives long-lasting memories that can bring back into number 2 and 3, which is training in GPP, because when you're doing those hard things, you remember why you're doing them for. Practicing competition-specific movement skills and emulating competition can be key in these areas. So if you are nervous about the comp, doing some practice is obviously ideal. It's like an assignment, or like, let's say, a speech. Reciting your speech a ton of times before the actual speech will make you way more confident than just trying to wing it and go in and hope for the best. Nothing better than practicing the competition in specific settings that emulate what it's going to feel like on game day. Obviously, you can't get exact, but you can get pretty close. You might do skills that are required for the competition day or emulate a certain element of the competition. For example, in the CrossFit space, we would try a CrossFit workout that is in the comp. That's a way to emulate it. If you're doing strength training, you might emulate a powerlifting meet or a strongman comp. If you're doing a triathlon, you might do a mini triathlon or a half triathlon or a half marathon to emulate what it's going to feel like doing the real thing. And then team training, doing this with friends, with people who are also trying for a similar goal or who are in your team for the event, will make things way more better. It just increases camaraderie and it gets the team to stick closer, become more in unison, and to have a greater success on the actual day itself. And it's an excuse to hang out with friends. That is my 5 ways to improve your fitness. If there's any questions about this, you can reach out to us on Unbound Athletic, my Instagram, Tyler J. Hamilton, or you can just send me a message and we'll be able to sort that one out. But they're my 5 steps to improving your overall fitness. Just a quick recap: nutrition and sleep is your number 1. Do that first. Make sure that's doing well before you move on to anything else. Number 2, training consistently. 2 days a week, walk more, improve your range of motion through mobility work, and rehab any injuries. Number 3, GPP, resistance training, monostructural work, or sport and recreation. Do one of the 3, do all of the 3. Try whatever you feel is going to be more suited to your personality. 4, learn something new. Skills, try something. Challenge yourself in new ways. And 5, try and find a sport and compete in it. Cool. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next podcast.